Okay, I welcome you all again to this second session on transmission and distribution. Okay, I wholeheartedly welcome you again, and this class will be starting with the concepts which have to be dealt with. Module number one, which is the introduction to electrical power system and introduction to transmission and distribution. Okay, we are going to start with the few topics what we had covered in the introduction class, that is regarding module number one. We will be starting with structure of an electric power system today, and later we'll be moving ahead with the concept which we call it as advantages of high voltage transmission. Okay, so we are going to have our discussion only with these two topics in today's class, which is quite important and relevant as per the examination. Okay, so we are going to start with a few simple topics what we can easily understand by making use of certain diagrams which are there in the electrical power system. Okay, so let me share my screen right now. Okay, yeah, let me start sharing my screen right now. And what we are going to discuss in today's class is the first one. Okay, it's the first one what we generally call it as the structure of electrical power system. Structure of an electrical power system. Or electric power system or electrical power system. Okay, so this is the first concept what I'm going to discuss. This is the second one. Okay, the second one is with respect to the advantages. Okay, the advantages of high voltage transmission. The advantages of high voltage transmission. The advantages of high voltage transmission. Okay, now these are the two topics what I'm going to discuss, what I've already shared it in the syllabus copy of 2018 scheme for your batch which is there. So in module number one, so we are going to start with module one, that is introduction to electric power system. In that we are going to have the structure of an electrical power system. Second one, we are going to have the advantages of high voltage transmission system. Okay, so module number one is what we are going to cover. We are going to start with module number one in this online classes. Okay, so as time proceeds, we'll go ahead with the remaining modules. Okay, now an open question to you right now. Okay, an open question is Nirmita there? Nirmita, can you confirm your availability in the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Nirmita, what do you understand by a system? So what do you generally mean by a system? Okay, let me say, what do you mean by a circuit first? What do you mean by a circuit? See, I want the class to be interactive. Then only we can see to it that it would be easy for everyone to understand what each and everyone knows. Okay, it would be quite easy for me also to have an understanding with you people. See to it that it is interactive. Okay. Yes. Okay. Anyone in the meeting? Can anyone tell me what do you mean by a circuit first? So, what do you mean by a circuit? Okay, anyone in the meeting can tell me what do you mean by a circuit? Rohan Pujari? Rohan? Is it there in the meeting? Rohan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rohan, tell me what do you mean by a circuit?
The circuit is a group of parameters connected together.
Okay.
Electric parameters.
Okay. Okay. So that is also, yeah, that's also an good answer. Okay. Now, can I say it as a circuit? It is nothing but an interconnection of components or circuit elements connected to
Yes,
give
sir.
connected to give to a required output, interconnected in such a manner. Okay. So it gives a required output. For example, if I talk about a simple R circuit, only resistive circuit, I need an output of 8 volts. I have a certain set of input. Okay, so let me draw a circuit here to make you understand quite easily. So I have a circuit like this. Okay, it's a linear circuit what I'm drawing here. So I have a resistor, okay, and I have a value of current. So this is said to be a simple circuit. What I have done here, so I have a voltage source, a DC voltage source. Okay, so this DC voltage source is said to be having a certain set of value. Okay, so if I want to fix the value of this DC voltage as 20 volt, and I have this value of the resistance, say some 5 ohm, and what would be the value of current? V by R. Okay, so that would be 4 amperes. Okay, so that would be 4 amperes. For example, I can vary in such a way that what would be the output that has been obtained. So for example, what if it is said to be an ideal circuit, whatever the output that you have got it on the resistor, that would be same as that of the input in this circuit level representation. But I can still vary the value of the resistor to get the required output depending on my requirement. Okay, depending on my requirement, what I can do it. So I can vary the value of this resistor and I can get the value of the output. Correct. Now, so what do you mean by a circuit is nothing but we have the interconnection of components. Okay, interconnection of elements. Okay, so we can call it as interconnection of components or elements or circuit elements or circuit parameters. Okay, in a required fashion. Okay, in a required required manner. Okay, in a required manner, in such a way that to give the required output. Okay, so I can call it like the interconnection of components or elements. Okay, in a required manner to give the output. Correct. Now, when I talk about the system here, if I say this is a system X, okay, so it is a system X. So I might be having any such components or circuit elements which are connected in the system. A simple example is a PCB board, okay, a printed circuit board. I can call this as a printed circuit board. I give a certain set of input and I get the certain set of output. So again, I can define the system in such a way that I'll be having the interconnection of certain elements in a required manner to give the output. Okay, so I can call a circuit to be a system. Okay, so I can have many such circuits to be a system also. So what it is here is I'll be having the input and I'll be having the output. It is entirely the output is dependent on the system parameters and its behavior. Okay, so I'll be calling it as the system parameters here. Okay, system parameters. Depending on the changes in the values of the parameters, I'll be getting the system output. Okay, I'll be getting the system output. So I can certainly define it in other ways also. For your understanding, I have defined it with the circuit level representation. I go with the system. Okay, so when I talk about this electrical power system here, this electrical power system, I'll be having the interconnection of the first one, which is generation. Okay, so generation is also involved in an electric power system. Next, I go with transmission. Okay, I go with transmission. So why we want to have this required level of output depending on the generation what we have achieved. Okay, so we have many such electric power generating stations. Okay, at the generating end. Okay, we call that process where the electrical power is generated, we call it as generation. Next, we have transmission. So whatever the power that is generated in the generating end or the generating station, that is to be transmitted over the long distance. So that we call it as the transmission end. So next we have distribution. So whatever that voltage or the power that is being transmitted over the given distance, I can call it to have it reaching the distribution station. So we have many such distribution station at the each and every district which is there. Okay, so at this distribution station, okay, so that will be the power that is obtained by the distribution station and it reaches the consumers. Okay, so now I can have this four like process which are involved in the electrical power system. So one is the generation, transmission, distribution, and this distribution of electric power. Okay, so when the consumer consumes it, okay, when the consumer consumes it, so what do you mean by a consumer is who is using the electrical power, we call them as consumers. Okay, so these are the consumers which are there, and these consumers consume the electric power which is generated. Okay, so I'll be having an electric bill, so each and every month, so this is the number of units that is being consumed. So without any consumption, you will be having only the minimum bill. Okay, without any consumption, you will be having a minimum bill that we call it as the fixed charges. Okay, so fixed charges, that would be nearly about 70 to 90 rupees of amount that you generally need to pay for the fixed charges. Okay, so those charges, even if you don't turn on any electric bulb or any load which is connected at your home, okay, we generally have this fixed charges there. Okay, so we have generation end, transmission end, and distribution, and after the distribution we have the utilization. Okay, we generally call it as the utilization of electric power. So how we are going to utilize the electrical power that is distributed to many such consumers or many such load drawing elements which are there. Okay, so load or current drawing elements or power drawing elements or apparatus which are connected. So we call them as the utilization of electric power. Okay, now, so coming to this structure, how do I represent it with the help of a diagram is one important thing there. Okay, so let me draw a diagram representing the structure of the electrical power system. So it would be quite easy for you once we list out the process. Okay, so first one is the generation, and second one we have transmission. Okay, second one we have transmission. Third one we have distribution. Third one we have distribution. So this is the electrical distribution system what we are going to have. So each and every concept what we are going to discuss in this course, which is transmission and distribution, is related to transmission of electrical power in the first module and the second module. So the next three modules would be entirely related to the distribution end and how the power quality and what do you generally mean by the reliability aspect and all. We are going to discuss it in the distribution system. Okay, so we call it as transmission and distribution, and we are going to list out the process that is involved in the electrical power system or the structure that is involved in the electrical power system. Okay, so one more thing what I wanted to highlight here is how we are going to represent it. So what I have written there on the screen is SLDs, which is single line diagram representation or single line diagrams. Okay, so I can call it as SLD, which is single line diagram. Okay, so in one single line I can represent the flow of electrical power from the generating end to the distribution end or the distributing end. So I can represent it with the help of the single line diagram. Okay, so how I can define this single line diagram is it's a concise way of representing the electrical power system. Concise way or a simple way or an easily representable manner in which it can be used to represent an electrical power system is called as the single line diagram. So single line diagram, we have the flow which will be from the generating end. So this is how I can represent a generator. Okay, so what do I mean? How do I represent it? So I can represent it over a circle which will be the generator. Okay, if I draw a line like this, it is a generator. Okay, so a generator, whatever the turbine connection what you have in an hydroelectric power plant, so it will be generating a voltage of nearly 11 kilovolt or 33 kilovolt is the standard value of the voltage that's generated at the generating end. Okay, standard voltage levels. Okay, you have to remember this. This is the standard voltage levels that we have got at the generating end. So either it would be 11 kilovolt or 33 kilovolt. So this station, we generally call it as the generating station. This station we generally call it as a circle, represented as a generator, which is AC in nature, AC generator. We call it as the generating station. Now, whatever the voltage that has been obtained here, it has to reach the distribution end. Okay, whatever the voltage that is there, it has to reach the distribution end. So generally, if I want to have the distribution of electric power, I'll give you an question right now. So what is the voltage level of your at your house? Anyone can answer. What is the voltage level that is obtained at your house?
230 volts.
Yes, exactly right. Yes. So that value of 230 volt, can you use the same thing with the 11 kilovolt?
No, sir.
No, right. So we cannot use the same 11 kilovolt, whatever that is generated, to the distribution end. Can you tell me the reason why? Yes, anyone can tell me. There is no thing like only one should answer. Everyone should interact, and you can let me know what you have understood from the voltage, whatever you see at your home. So this type of voltage, whatever that is being used here, it is a single phase voltage, and we also have a three phase voltage, which will be in the range of 400 volt to 415 volt. In case if you use any three phase system, okay, to drive any induction motor, three phase induction motor, or any other load which is to be connected. Okay. Now let me make it simple to you. I have certain 11,000 volts that is generated, and I need to reduce it to 230 volt. So this generating station would be somewhat 500 kilometers or 1,000 kilometers away from the distribution end. So I need to transmit this power which is generated at the generating end to the distribution end with the required level of voltage that is generated. Okay, so now what can I do? I need to step up the value of the voltage, because it needs to be transmitted at the higher value of the voltage levels. Okay, so it needs to be transmitted at the higher values of the voltage levels. I'll tell you its advantages as I proceed. Now, this is the transformer. It is a static electrical AC device, okay, AC equipment. So which will be operating at 11 kilovolt. It should be stepped up to 220 kilovolt, okay, 220 kilovolt, or certainly less than that, we'll be having 132 kilovolt. So I can have different values of standard voltage levels depending on the single line diagram. So I'm giving you the standard levels of voltages here. So this part would be entirely related to the generating station end, or the generating or the generation end. Correct. Now, so I need that transmission line network which is there from point A to point B, or from the generating end to the distribution end. So I can call these points as the transmission line network. So this entire network, what we generally call it as the transmission line network or transmission system. Okay, we call it as the transmission system. Now, if I have this transmission system, I have stepped up to 132 kilovolt now. So this 132 kilovolt has to be transmitted over the long distance, and it will be called generally as the primary transmission. Okay, it will be generally called as the primary transmission. Now, this primary transmission, whatever the transmission that is being carried out from 132 kilovolt, it needs to be stepped down again to 11 kilovolt. So what type of transformer did we use in the generating station? We used step up transformer. Okay, so why do we need to go for the step up transformer? So we need the voltages to be transmitted, or the power which is to be transmitted over long distances at a higher value of the voltage. So generally I can keep it at 132 kilovolt or 220 kilovolt, whatever that is to be required. Okay. So now what you need to do now is you need to step it down again to meet your requirements. So from 132 kilovolt, it needs to be stepped down to 11 kilovolt. Okay. So it needs to be stepped down to 11 kilovolt. So 11 kilovolt, what we have generated, we are stepping up to 132 kilovolt, and from 132 kilovolt again, we are going to step it down to 11 kilovolt again. Okay. So we have stepped down to the 11 kilovolt. So this first transmission, what we call it as the primary transmission. Okay. So primary transmission. Okay. We call it as the primary transmission. Next, again, we are going to step it down. Okay. Again, we are going to step it down to meet the load requirements at the industrial consumers. Okay. So what we connect here, it is the industrial consumers here. So here, this end is generally called as the secondary transmission. We call it as the secondary transmission. Okay. We generally call it as the secondary transmission. So what I'm going to do now is we generally call it as the secondary transmission because so from 132 kilovolt, we are stepping down to 11 kilovolt, and again from 11 kilovolt, we are stepping it down to 6.6 kilovolt or 3.3 kilovolt. Okay. We are having two divisions in the transmission. One is the primary transmission that is carried out over a long distance from the generating station to the nearly the distribution. Once we call it as the primary transmission, the stepping down of voltage is done by the secondary transmission. So this sections of primary transmission and secondary transmission will be carried out. Okay. And it will be having both the transformers what we use here. It is a step down transformer. We call it as the step down transformer. Okay. So both the transformer what we use, we call it as the step down transformer there. Okay. So next, again, to meet the loads at the, so what we did here, so why did we step it down to 6.6 or 3.3 kilovolt? So from here, we are meeting the loads of the industrial consumers. Okay. So why we are going to use only the direct one. So once we transmit it, so this type of transmission is done from primary and secondary. This distribution is being carried out here. We generally call it as what it is, primary distribution. Okay, primary distribution. All right. So once you recall, how did I write the circuit? It would be easy. So I'm stepping up with the voltage from 11 to 132. Next 132 to 11 again. Next again from 11 to 6.6 or 3.3 kilovolt to meet the industrial consumer loads, or we call it as the bulk loads. Okay, bulk loads. So in case if you have visited any industry, okay, in case if you have visited any industry, you will come to know that they will be having large motors. Okay, large motors. So certainly in 100 kilowatt or 70 kilowatt or 150 kilowatt, 300 kilowatt. Okay, so to meet that level of voltage, you need a higher value of voltage in terms of 3000 kilovolt. 3000 volts or 6000 volts that is there. So that's the reason why we call it as the 6.6 or the 3.3 kilovolt here. Okay. Now I have stepped it down to 6.6 or 3.3 kilovolt. Now what do I need to do again? So my main consumers, okay, my main residential consumers here are 220 to 230 kilovolt or higher. The three-phase one will be 400 to 415 kilovolt. Now, if I have this primary distribution, which is to be carried out by the industrial consumers, what they draw the power directly from the primary distribution. So my second consumers, what we have it as the residential consumers. Okay. So again, this voltage has to be stepped down. Okay. This voltage has to be stepped down to meet the secondary consumers. Okay. We call it as the secondary consumers or the residential consumers. Okay. Residential consumers. Okay, so this is a simple way in which I can represent it. So I'll be having many such loads in my home. Okay, so I'll be having one heating load and lighting load and so on. So this is the way in which I can represent a single line diagram of an electrical power system, or a structure, okay, or a structure in which how I can represent an electric power system. Okay, so that is what I mean by the electrical power system. So these are nothing but when I talk entirely regarding the distribution system, I'll highlight regarding the feeders and their interconnections. Service mains will be there, the interconnection of distributors will be there. So all those things have to be discussed in detail when I talk about this structure of an electrical power system. Okay, so we talk entirely regarding the structure of electrical power system, which is done in detail there. Okay, so let me explain it to you one more time. I'll be having this generator, the generator which will be generating a voltage nearly of 11 kilovolt to 33 kilovolt. So it is increased from 11 kilovolt to 132 kilovolt again. So it is done by the primary transmission. Next we have secondary transmission being carried out. Next we have primary distribution, and next we have secondary consumers, what we generally call here as the secondary distribution there. Okay, we call it as secondary distribution. All right, so we call it as secondary distribution there. So this is where how I have written there, how I have written the electrical power system. I'll be sending you the relevant study material also regarding this structure of electrical power system in detail. You can go through this structure quite easily. You can understand the standard levels of voltages. So what do you mean by a bulk load? What do you mean by residential loads? Or how we are going to categorize as secondary consumers and primary consumers. Okay, so all these things have to be explained, or it needs to be covered. Okay, so what is to be done is you have to make a note of this structure of electrical power system. Okay, so it is very important once you get into any power industry, so you need to know the structure of the electrical power system. So where we are going to use the step up transformer, where we are going to use the step down transformer, and so on, you need to be aware of it. Okay, so this is a simple way in which I can represent a electrical power system network. Okay, electrical or the structure of an electrical power system. So we have generation, transmission, and distribution. Okay, so it is represented by the single line diagram. Okay, so if there are any doubts, you can discuss with me right now. Okay, if there are any doubts, do unmute yourself and you can talk with me. Or else we'll move on to the next concept, which is called as the advantages of high voltage transmission. Okay, shall we proceed to the next concept? So I need a confirmation from your end. So shall we proceed to the next concept? We are done with this generation, transmission, and distribution. We'll move on to the next concept, which is advantages of high voltage transmission. Okay, so we are going to deal with advantages of high voltage transmission. So now, what happens if I transmit the electrical power at the low voltage? So why do we need to generally go for the high voltage is the question there. So we have three reasons for it. As we proceed with the help of the relevant equations, we are going to say that the first reason is the lesser conductor material required. Lesser conductor material required. Okay. Second one, we are going to have the increase in the transmission line efficiency. Increase in transmission line efficiency. Third one, we are going to have a reduction in the percentage of line drop. Reduction in the percentage of line drop. So what I'm mentioning here is line, which means a transmission line. Okay. So reduction in the percentage drop or percentage drop, whatever that is there in the transmission line. So there it's going to be a bit of reduction in case if I transmit the voltage at, transmit the power at high voltage. So high voltage power transmission is always preferred for these three common reasons, okay, or common characteristics what we have got here. So we will be going for the lesser conductor material which is to be required in case if I transmit the power at higher voltages. So higher voltages generally in India, so earlier it was 400 kilovolt, okay. So the highest AC voltage which is to be transmitted over long distances using the transmission lines. So we have 400 kilovolt of voltage. That's generally the outdated one. We have 765 kilovolt, which is running properly. So this is the highest value of the voltage that is there in India right now. Okay, and next we have in case of HVDC transmission. So we have reached 1200 kilovolt and 2500 kilovolt and so on. So the transmission, AC transmission, we are about to reach 1200 kilovolt, but in DC transmission we'll be generally having get written like this. So what do I mean by plus and minus? I can generally call this as the HVDC transmission voltage. Okay, so if I write plus and minus here, so 800 kilovolt, that will be having a range of 800 kilovolt in case of HVDC transmission. Okay, so here, what we are going to discuss now is we are going to take the help of the equations, what you have generally studied earlier. So we'll be starting with a bit of simple derivations, what you can understand, and how you generally say that we need lesser conductor material required. Next, we have increase in transmission line efficiency. Next, we have reduction in the percentage of line drop. So how we are going to say that? Okay, so now let us start with the help of the derivations. Let's make some assumptions here. So now let P is the power transmitted in kilowatt. Power transmitted in kilowatt. Next, we have V, which is the line voltage in volts. V is the line voltage in volts. Okay, next we have R. What do you mean by R? R is the resistance of the conductor in ohms. So whatever the transmission line conductors that we see, so the overall resistance is taken as R. So resistance of the conductor, okay, in ohms. Resistance of the conductor in ohms. Now L, what do I call it as L? So we know the well-known equation, R equals rho L by A. Okay, R will be given by rho L by A. Yes. Can you tell me what do you mean by A here? Viresh Patil. What is A?
Area of cross section.
Yes, who was it answered? Can you tell me who was the person who answered? Is it Viresh?
No, sir. Me, Archana, sir.
May I know your name?
Archana, sir.
Okay, very good. So L is the length of the conductor of the line. A is the area of cross section. A is the area of cross section. Area of cross section in meter squared. Okay, length will be in meter. Okay, next cos phi. What do you mean by cos phi? Power factor of the load. Okay, power factor of the load. Okay, we call it as the power factor of the load then. Fine. So now these are the initial terminologies what we are going to use in the derivation. So let us start with the first derivation. Okay. Now, what did I say now? I need the lesser conductor material required. Lesser value of the conductor material required. Okay, now when I say the lesser value of the conductor material required, so what do I need to do? I need to take the overall volume of the copper which is to be required. So generally, copper is used as the transmission line conductors. Okay, so which is used for the transmission, like transmission of power. What I'm going to talk here. So we'll be using it as the transmission line conductors. So we call it as OH, which is overhead transmission line conductors. Okay. So if I say the lesser value of the conductor material which is to be required, so I overall need the volume of the copper material which is to be required. Okay. So we have certain like terminologies which are generally constant. Okay. So we are going to move ahead with the power which is consumed in a three-phase circuit. So what is the power that is consumed in the three-phase circuit? What is the power consumed in the three-phase circuit? Root 3 VL IL cos phi. Okay, we have got all these things, and IL, which is said to be the line current, is given by P divided by root 3 VL cos phi. Root 3 VL cos phi. Okay. Now, what do we need to do here? What do we need to do? Let us recall the resistance, which is given by rho L by A. Okay, rho L by A. Now, what I'll be doing here is I'll be carrying it out the total copper losses in a material. Okay, total copper losses in a three-phase system. Okay, the total copper losses in a three-phase system. So that is given by 3I squared into R. Okay, 3I squared into R, or IL squared into R. Okay, now how I can write I? How I can write I and how I can write R? Okay, so I squared. So it is given by P squared divided by 3VL squared into cos squared phi into rho L by A. Got it? So we'll be writing it as 3 and 3, which gets cancelled here. Okay. So any more thing what we can do here? Anything we can cancel? Nothing. Okay. So P squared rho L divided by VL squared cos squared phi into A. Okay. Now what do I do here? So this is the total copper losses which is there. So let me write down here PCU total. Okay, PCU total, which is given by P squared rho L divided by, okay, A into V squared cos squared phi. Okay, into V squared cos squared phi. Okay, now what do? I need the area of cross section of the conductor. I'll tell you why do I need area of cross section of the conductor. So I need A, which is the area of cross section of the conductor. It is given by P squared rho L divided by V squared cos squared phi into PCU total. PCU total. Okay, so this is what we need here in terms of the area of cross section. So this is the area of cross section what we have got, that is A equals P squared rho L divided by V squared cos squared phi into PCU total. Okay, now next one what we are going to do here is the total volume of the copper required. Now, how do you define volume? Length into breadth into height. Generally, if I take any geometrical figure, so volume would be given by length into breadth into height. Now, only considering the area, we will be getting length into breadth. Okay, length into breadth. Okay, so we'll be getting the length and also the breadth of the conductor, what we have got. In case if I want to find out the volume, okay, so I'll be having the area, which is length into breadth here, into multiplying with the overall transmission line length. Okay, so if I take only the small section, I'll be taking length and breadth and height. Okay, so length into breadth comes into picture here. So if I want to take over the long distances, that will be over the length of the transmission line, and 3 times the length of the transmission line is what we wanted to take. Okay, so 3 into P squared rho into L squared divided by, okay, V squared cos squared phi into PCU total. PCU total. So this is what we generally call it as the volume of the material. Okay, volume of the copper material which is to be required. So let me write down here. This is called as the volume of copper material required. Volume of copper material required. Okay, so this is what we call it. Now, what are the constants here? Can anyone tell me what are the constants what we got in this equation? In this equation, what I have written down at the last, what are the constants here? Yes. So the constants, once the power is also a constant, are rho and L. Okay, rho and L along with power and cos phi. Okay, power and cos phi. So those are said to be the constants which are there in the equation. Okay, so I can write down the volume of the copper material required as the weight of the conductor. Volume of the copper material required. Volume of the copper material required. Volume of the copper material required is generally considered to be the weight. Okay, weight of the copper conductors. Weight of the copper conductors or the copper conductor material. Okay, so now I can write this as weight of the conductor. Weight of the conductor is directly related to the square of the voltage. So only change what we can do here is the voltage. Now, what do I infer from this equation? If I have an increase in the value of voltage, the copper material weight will go down. So what happens here? If I have the voltage, okay, if I take an voltage here, the transmission line voltage, generally it would be 132 kilovolt, and the weight of the conductor, okay, the weight of the conductor would be somewhat around 250 kg, which is required for the transmission line network, generally if I take. Now, if I increase the voltage level to 220 kilovolt, the weight would go down. What happens if I increase it? So this is very important equation in case if you go for any competitive exams or any exams which is generally of MCQ type. So you will be able to see to it that these type of questions will be there in case of transmission and distribution subject. Okay. Now this weight would be generally what will happen to the weight if the voltage is increased. The weight will be certainly lower. So it would be generally about 120 kgs or 100 kgs. Okay. So that would be the weight of the copper material which is to be required. Okay. So I hope you understood what do you generally mean by the lesser copper material required when you have the increase in the value of the line voltage. Okay, now that is generally what you mean by the line voltage there. Okay, so what we will do here is we will stop right now. Okay, we'll stop right now and let me stop recording too.